Oh wow, I love this shirt. Oh my god, no, you literally can't wear that. Do you not know what the actor of that show says? You literally cannot wear that shirt. If you wear that shirt, everyone will think you're racist, and I don't want to be seen with you. Bro, the show has been out for 30 years. Just because the actor was bad and said bad things doesn't reflect the show or the messaging of the show and the nostalgia for me. I'm not a racist just because I like this show and this shirt. No, you'll still be racist because you are literally supporting that actor and that show if you buy that shirt. No, you can't do it. You're literally a terrible person. You can't even call yourself alternative if you buy that. Actually, this is a fan-made shirt. All of the proceeds go to the artist, and they actually send 10% of all their earnings every month to anti-racist organizations. Do you ever get tired being so performative all the time? Wow, so now you're racist and harassing me for my views? I'm sorry, but I literally can't be friends with a fascist. Bye. Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that's really important that's coming up a lot on social media now, and it's the topic of alternative spaces and politics.
Oh my god, bro.
It doesn't matter who you are in 2025, it doesn't matter where you live. If you are in the Western Hemisphere, you are going to get dragged into politics, especially if you're in alternative spaces like punk, goth, emo, and alternative spaces in general. You can't escape politics. In recent years, we've seen a surprising rise of conservatism in the alternative space, and this has led to a lot of confusion, animosity, and division within the space. So today, I want to ask an important but controversial question. Can you be alternative and conservative? And an absolute massive disclaimer before we get into this, before anyone starts coming for me in the comment section calling me a fascist or calling me conservative, I am a very strong leftist, and I have always been that way. And no matter what the alternative police say to me after this video, you can say what you want, you can come for me all you want, you've come for me before, but all I'm doing is asking questions and giving my opinion on the research that I've done. Let's start with punk. Punk exploded onto the scene in the 1970s in cities like London and New York, and it was born from the frustration of the working class who felt like they had no ties to the mainstream culture, media, and music. Punk was about rejecting the establishment and status quo and saying, we don't need your rules to live our lives and make music.
Suppose so.
I think you're trying to shock people.
I don't give a what you think. I know what I think, and that's all that counts to me. I don't try and impress anybody but myself.
Now, in 2025, a lot of conservative punks believe that if they're against the status quo, which is the liberal democratic government, that this makes them rebellious and in turn punk, which I would agree with. If you were against all governments in 2025, that would make you a libertarian punk. But you cannot be and you cannot have social conservative values and be punk. Punk through a political lens and an ideological lens is not about the government. It's about the system of oppression. And if you believe in supporting a government or ideologies of conservatism that put the systems of oppression up on a pedestal and want to preserve them, then you're not punk. And you're literally just cosplaying with a leather jacket. So here's the bottom line. Punk wasn't and isn't about one particular political identity. It's true. But, and this is a very important but, punk at its core is about the objection of mainstream oppression. It just used music as its vehicle to carry this message. So if you call yourself punk, but you're still out here voting for people who are okay with oppression and are racist, homophobic, transphobic, war hungry, you might want to do some self-reflecting and take off that leather jacket, sweetheart. But, and I'm going to turn this on its head again, you can have some conservative values and this doesn't make you a bad person. It just depends what side and what level you fall on the scale. And this is very important, and I feel like a lot of people forget about this in 2025. The word conservative especially has been painted as backward, intolerant, and incompatible with subcultures that pride themselves off inclusivity. But I don't think that's fair, or we're giving them the full picture. Now, let's talk about goth. And goth is actually the reason that led to this discussion, as a result of the rise of conservative content creators online like Jake Monroe in the alternative space.
We're going to be exploring yet more visual representation of how women are single-handedly ruining the goth subculture by themselves, while simultaneously claiming that they're not. It's like they're not even trying to fight the stereotype.
Riveting content. Many have criticized him for his content and calling him a fake and a poser, so the question stands, can you be conservative and goth? Goth emerged from the post-punk scene in the late 70s, early 80s, and is often associated with leftist politics as a result of its association with queer spaces and its emphasis on inclusivity as a subculture. And politics can overlap, sure, yeah, but being a conservative doesn't automatically make you a bad person, and conservative values don't just mean politics. As much as Americans like to think, they don't own the word conservative, and conservative means different things for different people from different countries and different cultures. If your conservatism is rooted in traditional economic values, family, traditional religion, then as long as you're not hurting anyone or looking down on anyone, then your conservatism shouldn't be a problem for the goth community and stop you from being accepted. So yes, contrary to what some leftist people will tell you and shout at you for and harass you for, you can be conservative and goth. If you have no problem with people being Christian and goth, then you shouldn't have a problem with someone being conservative and goth. Goth isn't a political ideology. It's an aesthetic, a music genre, and a subculture. Goth began, and still is, a safe space for people to feel connected from not being accepted in mainstream society for reasons of being queer, being an immigrant, being neurodivergent, or just not feeling that you connect with mainstream culture and ideologies. Goth is that safe space. But, and this is a massive but, if your conservatism clashes with any part of inclusivity, i.e. homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, classism, or racism, then you are going against the very ethos that goth stands for. At the end of the day, goth is about building an inclusive society for those that mainstream has rejected. It's about building a safe space for those that are different and strange, that mainstream society rejected, and where they can feel like they belong. So as long as you embrace that inclusivity, then of course you can have conservatism and goth. So this shout out goes to Jake Monroe and the stuck-up goth police of the internet. The next time you want to point that finger and say, that person isn't goth, as long as that person isn't hurting anyone, isn't excluding anyone, or isn't harassing anyone, you're the one who isn't goth. Because goth, like everything in life, is a spectrum. I think one of the biggest problems today in 2025 is extremism. Everything has to be black or white, pink or blue, blue or red, liberal or fascist. Politics aren't binary. They're a spectrum. And so are people. Being conservative or right-wing doesn't always mean being socially exclusive or hostile to people who want and live different lives to you. You can still support the right of others to make different choices to you. And also, the same way, being liberal or left-wing doesn't mean that someone is instantly socially accepting or tolerant either. I've met some liberals who are not very accepting of people who don't share the same values as them. And I'm going to hold all of your hands when I say this, but it is possible to hold on to your values without forcing them onto others or excluding them for not ticking every single one of your boxes. They just have to tick the important boxes for your ethos or ideology. And you aren't the alt police. You aren't the goth police. You aren't the punk police. You don't have this authoritarian right to tell people who and what they aren't. That's for them to figure out by themselves. And if you don't like that person, or you don't think they're following the correct dogma or ideology of a subculture, then just don't follow them. Don't be friends with them. But this mob mentality doesn't follow into any of the subcultures. If anyone is ruining this safe space, it's ye and your authoritarian higher than God idea that you know what's best. You don't. You don't. So, can you be conservative and alternative? Yes, but with limits. Being alternative isn't about your political label. It's about carving your own identity outside of the mainstream. Alternative spaces thrive off inclusivity. So as long as someone isn't trying to hurt, harass, or exclude someone, then they should be accepted within reason into the community. And we should all give each other a chance to learn and grow within the alternative space. So, what do you think? Can conservatism and alternative culture mix, or are they fundamentally opposed? Leave your comments in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.